Hey y'all, welcome back to the Medicinal Melange podcast. I'm Elizabeth. I'm a clinical herbalist, medical astrologer, and that one Virgo friend who will lovingly call you out while I read your entire birth chart and your nervous system before your coffee's even cold. This is where we take the guesswork out of your wellness journey and take back your autonomy in healing your body, aligning your birth chart and shedding light on your highest self's actual timeline and not the one capitalism tries to rush you through. If you're into no BS astrology, radical self honesty, and levels of devotion to yourself you were told is too much, you're definitely in the right place. And today's episode is following along with this season's focus, the best workouts per sign. And today we are focusing on the shining star, Leo. The archetype of Leo doesn't ask to be seen, it really just takes on the spotlight naturally. But the twist on this is most Leo types I work with don't actually feel as confident as people think that they are. They're the ones who light up the room, but maybe question their own brilliance the second they walk out of it. So if you're a Leo type, that's the sun, moon, rising, or have a Leo stellium, heavy Leo placements, this episode is for you. And if you've been wondering whether you're too much or secretly scared you'll never be enough without the applause, be sure to listen. Let's get into it. First of all, yes, I did take 2 weeks off, and I'm honestly not sorry about it because I've got a lot of exciting pivots on the horizon that are going to make the way I share with you even juicier. If you are an email subscriber, then you already know every Tuesday I drop messages from Mars. Tuesday is ruled by Mars, which makes it a damn good day to take action, to start your to-do list, to move some energy. Now, up until now, those emails have included my week ahead medical astrology forecasts. And I really, really love doing them. But I also found myself editing to points of no return what I was saying, just cutting and cutting so that way it's not a wall of text for somebody to read on a Tuesday morning. And it's been draining, and it definitely kills the creative Leo 12th house side of me. So I thought, why not make it content you can listen to via this podcast and then just like bullet points for the week. So starting next week, I'm recording the week ahead for the medical astrology forecast and sending the link directly to subscribers on Tuesday. So if you're not on the email list yet, go to themedicinalmelange.com and give it like 3 seconds and the big purple pop-up will come on the screen. Fill in your email, boom. You not only get my weekly astrology forecast emails, the random promo or fun herbal deep dives. I only do those about once or twice a month. But also as a thank you, you get my 12 Houses of Astrology breathwork guide. That's a really gorgeous tool to add to your wellness ritual, whether you're trying to incorporate breathwork to help with your manifesting, or if you just need to fucking chill and you want to relax, breathwork is really good for relaxing and helping your nervous system kind of get out of this constant fight, flight, freeze zone. Or if you're a Leo type, a Gemini type, or anyone else that needs extra breath, this is going to help you ground deeper into your own body. So head over to my website, get yourself subscribed, and now let's talk about my favorite astrology of the week. So this week, late Thursday into Friday, depending on where you are in the world, Venus is going to slide on into Taurus, and I personally can't wait. Venus rules Taurus, so that's always a plus. It is home-based energy, but it's not passive. It's more to the point. Taurus doesn't have time to talk around. It's not a lot of chatter. Taurus isn't a very chatty for the sake of being chatty sign. So Venus and Taurus ask you to stop gripping so fucking tight onto stuff that does not belong to you. When you release that grip, it's when you allow yourself to start receiving other stuff, things that you didn't even know was possible. And I really love this, especially through the lens of financial astrology, because Venus is where we each uniquely attract money. It's not about cash per se, it's about the flair, the extra spice that you naturally bring into how you make money. So Venus also infuses passion into the regular day, the mundane. And when Venus is in Taurus, it becomes about allowing in the people, the projects, the choices that build this long-term stability. For instance, Venus has been in Aries. All of us are watching the world spin in this very chaotic way and thinking like, absolutely not. Now is not the time. I have people that are reaching out to me like, I want to join your Sun membership. I'm ready to like pivot and do things different and see my life from a different lens, a different scope. But, the world is worlding and I respect that fully. I also know that when Venus enters into Taurus, it's going to feel more stable. You're going to also start trusting your body more. If you have Chiron in Taurus, this is going to be a helpful time of healing for you. You're going to trust your timing. You're going to make decisions because you know it's in alignment with your highest self, with your birth chart, and not because it's filled with anxiety or just trying to quickly do something before you change your mind. So you become more earthy in how you express your magnetism because you are definitely rooted in your worth. And like any solid Taurus placement, you are not budging for anything less than that. The Venus transit here says feel wealthy in your nervous system, not just in your bank account. When we all get to experience this transit of Venus moving into Taurus, ingress, that's the like terminology of it moving into as it transits into it, ingresses. We're going to radiate the version of you who already knows. They know they belong in the life that they're building. And it's not because they're just making bold decisions just to hurry up. It's coming from respect, not a fear of loss. I respect that what I'm building is X. I know I deserve Y. I will not settle for less than that, period, point blank. So they're not worried about who turns them down because they know if you think I'm too much, maybe they're too little. It's about choosing what nourishes us and letting everything else fall away. So I do like to have this kind of invitation to take this energy and get back in your body during this time. Make one decision this week that is in alignment with your birth chart, not just because you need to quickly make the decision, and let it kind of be the start of this new magnetism that you're embodying, the kind that doesn't have to prove, I don't chase, I attract, right? That kind of energy. But also, you don't have to perform. You're just there because you know that's where you're meant to be. All right, y'all, let's talk about Leo. Cue the dramatic music, the spotlight, the center stage, hair blowing in the wind because there's a fan to the left. That is very Leo energy. Leo is ruled by the sun, the literal center of our solar system. And Leo knows it. The energy walks in like, don't act like you didn't feel the energy shift when I entered the room. And honestly, not wrong. I call Leo the teenager of the zodiac, and I say that with love. Big feelings, big passion, main character energy through and through. They want to be seen, yes, in their unique way, but they really want to be felt, to be known, to be seen as as they live in this very joyous way. They want somebody to see that they are living in their full selves. And when they don't feel like that, that is definitely when things get messy. Like a blocked sun is look at me, but don't actually see me energy. Because Leo in its highest frequency is very creative and naturally magnetic and generous and, lights up the room. Let's say you're not the Leo type, but you're listening to this and I appreciate it. This is where you do light up with confidence. The part of your chart that Leo falls in is how you shift the temperature just by being who you are, because that's the sun. That is Leo. But when the sun is blocked, that's when you get symptoms, not just emotional ones, but physical ones too, um, that, look like everyday chronic fatigue because you're burning out trying to be a different person for everyone else. Let's say you are like that when you're younger, to your mom, you're one person, then you go to your dad's, you're another person, you go to school with that teacher loves you, you're an asshole to the other teacher because they just don't understand who you are. And, you got all these different hats, all these different personalities, not just, oh, I approach people differently. These are whole ass personalities. I've worked with so many blocked Leo suns, and this is my number one tell if their sun is blocked or not. If you are older and you have a blocked sun, this can manifest physically as tight chest. The body is literally gripping around your heart space, around your joy. And then this also brings up issues with confidence or identity. You have 8 different identities. How do you know which one is which? So then this creates sluggish digestion. And then you're not looking the way that you think you should look or want to look. But it also can slow down the immunity because the sun is the giver of vitality. Sun is blocked. This lowers our immune system. And then how do we get out of that rut? Well, most of the time, blocked suns will start overcompensating with external validation. They try to feel seen through work, through appearances, through social media, through overdoing it for friends, always being the one to help. But then they have this feeling like they're totally drained by it. And it's really sneaky because you think, I'm just tired. I just need to be more disciplined with, what I eat, let's say. When really your body is just trying to tell you that your light's been turned down, that glow has been too low for way too long. And it's exactly why I offer medical astrology readings, because your chart really holds this map for your vitality, for your confidence, for your triggers of burnout. And what your body needs to feel safe is shown in your chart as well. If you are listening to this and like, okay, I do feel kind of blah. I am stuck in this like creative analysis paralysis. I am unclear about what my next step is. Or maybe you just feel disconnected from your energy. That's where we look at the birth chart. We don't guess. We map it all out, start to finish. And from there, when we work together in a medical astrology reading, you can start building this unique path towards returning to your full self, to your joyous self. If you are ready to go deeper and decode what the sun is actually asking for, go to the medicinalmelange.com. At the top in the middle, it says astrology readings. You're going to click on virtual because that's how I do my medical astrology readings. They're all virtual. And yeah, let's get that light back into you, not just spiritually, but physically as well. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the rest of the episode and really unpack how Leo shows up, both when it's in alignment and, when it's spiraling. Leo rules the back, the heart, the spinal cord, the aorta, even like the myelin sheathing. Yep, that's all Leo. So thinking back to what we just learned about how Leo shimmers and adding in the rulerships of the body systems, the medical astrology really backs up what we know. Leo's posture, their breath, their courage, these are not just physical things. They are energetic proof of how safe you feel being seen. Your heart racing during public speaking, where maybe you've always felt good speaking publicly. This can also manifest as shoulder and back tension from holding in the emotions or playing too small. digestive tightness from this unspoken fear of judgment. Even with Mars transiting Leo right now, this is very triggering to people who struggle with stabilizing their blood pressure. And I do have a few clients I see for my quarterly medical astrology readings. That's where I just meet with you every 3 months. We go over, hey, here is the predictive astrology for the next 3 months. Here are the herbs we want to work with. Here are the situations we want to avoid if we can. Here's how we handle tough situations from a behavioral psychology standpoint. So during those quarterly readings, I'm seeing that people are having more painful flares in their back lately because Mars is in Leo. Mars is our acute pains and throwing the fire, and it's already in this very fiery sign of Leo. So it's manifesting through the heart and through the back. So the sun is our source of vitality. It's our light, our life force, and Leo is ruled by the sun. So yeah, it's not exactly an easy feat to nourish the sun every single plate we put in front of us. But you need foods that stoke your inner flame without burning you out. And out of all of the signs, I genuinely believe Leo needs to be more intentional with their nourishment than most. I always say Leo needs to limit how much they eat out or how often they swing through the drive-through to get that like one favorite shake or even like those Red Bull coffee things. Ugh, no thanks. The good takeout moment isn't kind to them because cooking at home with whole ingredients needs to be an act of devotion to Leo. The Leo type thrives when the ritual of nourishment becomes a way to return the vitality and not just fill the belly. So here's how to eat like you are feeding the sun. Start with fruits and veggies. Obviously, is going to be my start for pretty much everybody. You don't have to research heavy antioxidant, fruits and vegetables like a nerd unless you want to. And in that case, like totally go ahead. But just head to the store and look for the reds and purples. Pomegranates, blueberries, grapes. I like the crispy red kinds with the seeds. Reds and blues are going to be the fruits that keep your blood vessels smooth, open. I personally freeze the grapes so that way they don't get bad because I'm never eating enough right away when I buy them. But so I throw them in the freezer and then I get out the Vitamix. I put the frozen grapes, maybe some beet juice because I don't like beets, but beet juice is fine. And you make a slushie when it's the dog days here in Texas, which let's be real, it's every fucking day, a dog day, a hot ass summer day in Texas. Also, the Leo type needs plant-based proteins like beans and nuts because they will help reduce inflammation while also boosting protein levels. And listen, now that I'm working with my trainer, Kaylee, I'm realizing that in my 30s, I was getting nothing towards proteins. But we're not doing that in our 40s, okay? We're upping our proteins. We know how much it helps not only our body, our muscles, our vitality, but it also helps with our hormones. So that's my number one reason personally. The Leo types should focus on healthy fats. I like whole avocados personally, but like flax seeds if you're in a pinch or if you just want like a pantry staple item. I sneak flax into so many meals, smoothies, bowls, you name it. Leo needs those heart and hormone loving fats to keep things soft and smooth and glowing and radiating from the inside out. Now, I know we were talking about fruits and veggies, and listen, as far as iron rich food goes, Leos love a good hunk of meat. Like they literally are the sign most likely to crave a steak and a cold beer. And that's that primal lion energy. It is very real to have those like weird cravings. So if you're the type to tear into a steak, like go off, all for it. But if you're like me and want to eat the rainbow and get creative with what you put in front of you, there are some beautiful alternatives. Like I said before, I hate beets, but I'll give them their flowers. They're thick with iron. Lentils are also a solid choice, and I live for cooking collard greens and tracking that for iron intake. Sweet potatoes are definitely another go-to. In my 20s, I used to get really lazy and toss frozen sweet potato fries into the oven. And then when they got done cooking, I put turmeric and ginger and coriander and cumin. It's basically a low key curry situation. Then I would load them onto corn tortillas, put like black beans below them, shredded cabbage, maybe broccoli, Brussels sprouts, something like that. Listen, it was so delicious. And so these days I still make it, but I've upgraded. We're smarter now. We're older now. I use whole sweet potatoes, toss those in olive oil, roast them till they're crispy, and it hits so much harder and doesn't come from the weird flavoring junk that messes with the Leo vitality in those prepackaged meals. So I highly recommend this curry sweet potato taco meal if you want to give it a try. Leos burn hot all the time. Water intake definitely matters for Leos. I mean, for everybody, I feel like none of us are really hydrating like we should, but Leos especially. Daily hydration supports your nervous system and also keeps your system from overheating. I always say to throw lemon or my personal favorite, cucumber in the water to cool your body down. This is also a great place to put those berries if you would like, or per your favorite clinical herbalist, infuse it with herbs, which we are about to get into. Too much sodium, by the way, can dry out Leo energy and spike the blood pressure. So if you're heavy handed with a salt shaker, just keep an eye on the balance there. I definitely season until my ancestors tell me not to, but I think of salt specifically as a sacred act. So I don't want to overdo it because that's when I feel puffy and agitated and really dried out. So watch your sodium intake and make sure you stay hydrated. Okay, my favorite part of the episodes are definitely the herbs for the Leo system because let's get clear. The Leo is not high maintenance. I like to think of it just at a higher frequency. Leo energy needs nervous system support to stay open, to stay grounded, to radiate without flipping into this like high drive, this overdrive response. So my favorite herbs for the Leo types are going to be cardiotonic herbs, herbs that help with the inflammation in the body and help restore the vessels. So the first herb that I wanted to list for this episode is rose. And back in herbal school, we had to do final projects at the end of each year. And at the end of one of my years, my friend April picked rose. And I was definitely a little hater at first. I was like, what could I possibly not know about rose? Like, how boring of a research project. I was absolutely humbled. First of all, rose is one of the most worked with herbs on the planet. From spiritual practices to offerings of love and adoration for people you love, cooking, baking, medicinal uses, obviously. There's just so many different ways that you can work with rose, and there's all different sorts of species as well. I'm specifically talking about the Rosa, Rosa. So that is going to be the proper plant name. But yeah, when I say rose, I'm typically thinking of a 5-petal rose. But if you feel like, oh, hey, I have a Rosa rose in my garden and I don't spray pesticides, like that might be a perfectly acceptable rose to work with. People often just think of the petals, but there are these things called the rose hips, the fruits, that are also packed with vitamin C and antioxidants. Energetically, rose is a relaxant and emotionally softening. Chemically, this is an astringent that tones the tissues. So, my favorite line from April's projects was like, if a person's a little prickly, right? Think of the rose and the thorns. Rose will soothe the thorns and wash this wave of love into the body. I love that. It's just, I can feel the love of rose and the energetic softening that it does just by thinking about that. And actually, rose, I keep it on my desk, and every Friday I anoint myself with rose because Friday is associated and ruled by Venus. So that is how I honor that day. Hawthorn is the second herb that I wanted to talk about for the Leo types. This one is one of my all time favorite heart herbs. So both the berries and the flowers are medicinal, and they each contain different levels of flavonoids. So hawthorn is anti-inflammatory, a cardiotonic, emotionally grounding. It's really calming that stress of our lives that live in our chest. That tight, anxious, overwhelming feeling, sometimes even of dread that we have in our body. It helps lower cholesterol, modulates the blood pressure, and even acts as a mild ACE inhibitor. And obviously, this is a ride or die herb for preventing cardiovascular disease and strengthening the emotional walls of the heart. But it's very powerful. There are contraindications, and it can interact with certain medicines in a way that we don't want to, but also it can replace some of those in some cases. So please don't DIY this one. I mean, look, free will's a thing, but yes, please do not DIY this one. Reach out to me or another clinical herbalist that you trust to make sure it's the right fit for you and whatever your wellness routine is currently. Hibiscus is also on my list for Leo type herbs. This is a nutritive, cooling, antioxidant rich herb. This one's a Leo must because hibiscus lowers high blood pressure, supports the heart, and also helps cool down the body. So again, Leo definitely needs this. I personally put it in my Aphrodite tea for that exact reason, because it doesn't matter what your zodiac sign is. Hibiscus is the perfect herb to beat the heat of the summer and also add a little bit of sweetness to your self-care rituals. My last herb for today, and one that is also in my Aphrodite tea, is calendula. And this is the sun in a flower. People with fiery personalities, so Leo types especially, benefit from calendula to calm the gut and soothe inflamed skin, inflammation in the gut. It doesn't just look like sunshine when it blooms, it actually helps you feel like you're radiating that sunshine as well. Let's go next to the movements of Leo, one that is going to show their radiance, because Leo types don't want boring. They are not meant to schlep through a workout like it's going to be a whole hour of punishment. They want to move in a way, though, that reminds them that they're alive, that they have this inside radiance. And so Leo movements should feel like a celebration. Maybe they incorporate this like wonder and playfulness. Definitely, they want to feel like it's a ritual of self love and self care. So, if areas of your body that feel tight and stuck, maybe it is your back specifically, maybe it's your heart, that Leo type energy might be dimmed. You're slouching forward at a desk all day and your upper back's all jacked up. You're literally closing off your light from your heart, your energy from your heart. And the movement is the way you reinvigorate your heart and your joy and your happiness to say, like, hey, it's safe to be seen again. Dance is definitely one of the best things you can do for a Leo type to restore that energy, not just because it's expressive, but because it moves the energy through the spine while unlocking the heart space. So put on music that makes you feel like a star, that lets your body take over. For me, when I listen to, or this weekend, I was at a show, hardcore show. When I say hardcore, in case you're not aware, it's like punk music, but it's faster and more yelly is probably the easiest way to explain it. But they have these things called breakdowns. And when I hear a good breakdown, I I like am trying to say it in a way that makes sense, but like even just talking about it right now, I am almost at a loss for words because it feels like my heart it just rips out of my chest, but for no other reason than to like offer it as a token of thank you for making it feel so alive. The key is to feel like your heart is fucking beating again. Another option is maybe you don't love to be in the pit. Look, I'm 40. I'm not going to be in the pit. Also, I'm just a fragile baby. You know I'm 6'4", but I'm just soft, and that's okay. Pre-pandemic, I actually stopped in for a couple pole dance classes, and plot twist, I get so nauseous spinning on them, which I definitely should have known because I get sick if I make too many turns while I'm driving. I pivoted at this dance studio into something that still helped me unblock my 12th house Leo hangups. And I took a sensual dance class where it was just a safe space to roll around on the ground and move my hips and all of that trauma, because trauma is stored in your hips, and move in a way that built this fire back in my heart and my belly. This was a safe space where I could show up and feel alive no matter what my physical body took on, form-wise, stress-wise for the day. I didn't have to have makeup or wear anything specific to feel sexy. It was just about moving in a way that lit this fire that post my daughter getting sick was completely depleted. Also, if we're talking body movements in that slower, sensual way, yoga is great for this, but I'm talking heart opening flows that are incredible for the Leo type. Back bends, which I cannot do. Camel pose is a great one. I'm not super into yoga for many reasons. I started working with Asana Awakening Project, and Leah has now become one of my dear friends. And I was just so blown away that for the first time in my life, it was like yoga that I could do, because I do not have the body of most women. And so my body, it doesn't move and bend. And when it's like touch your toes, like, yeah, but my inseam's 37 inches. So me touching my toes, not impossible, but it's not going to happen the same way somebody who's 5'2" and been going to yoga classes all day, every day the last 5 years is going to bend. When I started taking classes at Asana Awakening Project, first of all, her music was solid. It was like 70s witchy music, which I loved. It wasn't just spa music. It was lovely. But also she got me outside and showed me variations and told me different tools and techniques that I could apply to help my body feel supported as I adapted to these yoga poses. So all that to say, I am not a yoga expert. In fact, quite the opposite. But there are people like Leah with the Asana Awakening Project, like my friend Snowy Rodeo that now teaches yoga, that will lead you through sequences that bring those heart-opening flows to reality for the Leo type, or just somebody who's looking to bring that awareness back into their body. Group classes are lovely for the Leo types. I kept thinking any sort of expressive martial arts are great for the Leo types, especially if they give you a little moment to shine. You don't need to be the center of attention, but you do need a sense of I showed up and I brought my full self. So even something like jujitsu, where you get to wear this like potentially unique gi and maybe bring that signature Leo flavor out, it helps you recalibrate this fire back into your body, where it's like, not only am I stylish in my cute little gi, but also I'm representing the power of Leo. And also, don't underestimate performance-based movement. Yes, singing, movement under the actual sun. Singing activates your chest cavity, your breath, your diaphragm, literal heart energy. So moving under sunlight, whether it's walking, stretching, dancing in your yard, Leo type is solar powered, so move where the sun can actually see you. Leo movement needs to come from a place of joy and embodying that childlike wonder, that happiness. You don't necessarily need a workout, but you need a way to manifest this fire that's like, I'm here, this is me, take it or leave it. So now we've come to the tail end of the episode where we are going to pull a card. And today's card I chose is the Amanita, which is really funny because this is a fungi, and fungi is typically grown in wet, moist, dark places. This one specifically acts as a conduit, and that is what we're seeing here, is that as a conduit for the Leo type, you're ruled by the sun. We're radiating that celebration, that awakening from the inside and helping it radiate outward so that way it kind of catches on in this very contagious way. Just remember that you don't have to necessarily be somebody that is chosen. You were born to radiate this happiness, this joy, this inner childlike wonder. Be the conduit of that happiness, not just for yourself, Leo types, but for everybody. Okay, y'all, that is it for today's episode. If you are a Leo type or even just Leo curious, and this podcast lit a little fire in your chest, send it to the friend who hypes you up like it's their full-time job and never lets you forget that you were born to fucking shine. Also, make sure you tag me with your favorite Leo ritual. Maybe it is dancing in the kitchen with the windows open like every mom in the 90s, or basking in the sun like a teenager that treats pool time like it's their summer job, or just getting dressed to feel like your own work of art, which is my personal favorite. If you want to find out if you are a true Leo type or where the sun shows up in your personal wellness journey, head to themedicinalmelange.com, click on Astrology Readings tab to book a medical astrology session with me. If you're ready to take up more space and address your block sun to remove the stagnation in your healing journey, in your confidence, in every aspect of your life, definitely check out the Sun membership. It's also right there at the top of my website. To the right, it just says The Sun. So until next time, I will see y'all.